Welcome to Modern Goddess. Here we discuss everything mastering your mindset, wellness wisdom, upgrading your relationships so that you can unleash your divine goddess essence and live your authentic best self every single day. I'm your host, Cassie Aurora. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I am very happy you're joining me again today, and that so many of you wrote in your little astrology kind of readings, mini readings for yourself based on the last episode. And if you didn't check out the episode, make sure you do, because it was just so fun. And we really dove deep into, how you can look at your ascendant in astrology and actually gain a lot of depth from that one thing. It was still kind of the basic level, so anyone will be able to do it. But what I really enjoyed about that episode was how many of you engaged with me and said you appreciated it. That is what I love. And, if you want more episodes like that, just let me know. So yeah, I'm out walking again. No shocks and horrors there. But yes, I'm really tired today. Alex is my partner, if you're new to the podcast. He had to get up at like 6:20 today. And even when I wasn't pregnant, that I'm just not waking up at that time. I don't set alarms. That was one demand I had for my, when I set out in my quest to have the perfect business that suited me. One of those was I don't want to ever set an alarm. And I've got away with it so far, up until having to have hospital appointments for the baby. So, I remember one thing I really hated about working the 9 to 5 was just the fact that I had to set an alarm. I was like, why should I set an alarm? I should just wake up when my body wakes up, which for me usually would be 7 a.m. But since baby, it's been more like 9 a.m. and I'm going to bed at about 9:30, 10. So I obviously must need it. But last night went to bed at 10:30, woke up at 6, so I'm a little bit tired. So we'll see how this goes. But of course, I wanted to honour my commitment to you and bring you a podcast this week, another one. Next week I'm going to do a big podcast on the lunar eclipse, so keep your eye out for that. It's a very big event. I'm really excited because it's only 6 days till the Astrology of 2021 webinar. If you haven't signed up for it yet, you have missed out on the promotional price, but you haven't missed out on the webinar altogether, because the cost has gone up, but that doesn't mean you can't join in. So make sure you join in with that webinar, because if you want to get ahead of next year and be in effortless flow, effortless abundance, see what's coming in for you, what month holds what, so that you're not blindsided by basically the government and all the restrictions, so that you are one step ahead and have the precautions in place. Because trust me, if you're a spiritual person, a conscious entrepreneur, you're kind of quote unquote awake. There's been loads of people kind of making out in the light worker space, so to speak, in the new agey space, that 2021 is the year where everything changes. It's revolutionary, yes, but we are not going to suddenly have freedom and everything will go back to normal. So how do we navigate that? And there's going to be some new challenges coming our way, which are only challenges if you don't know about them. If you get ahead with your finances, you invest in the right places beforehand. Literally, you want to invest and get your affairs in order before February, because that's when stuff is really going to hit the fan, basically from this lunar eclipse at the end of the month. So this is why I've kind of squeezed in the webinar earlier than December. December will feel kind of affirming for many people, because you have the great conjunction happening, which I talk about more in the webinar, which is a big life-changing one. It was the Star of Bethlehem. It marks the end of dynasties. But there is a lot going on, especially in America, in your chart, guys. So if you're thinking, oh God, I think I want to be in this webinar, I want to get ahead, I want to know what's going on, then definitely make sure you head to my website, cassieaurora.com, and just go to the webinar of Astrology 2021 and sign yourself up before it's too late. And you know, it's going to have everything you need for the year ahead, more or less the forecast. It's like a weather forecast for our souls. Why not? But it's definitely going to be materially happening out there. So yeah, I'm not going to talk too much more about that, but that's just an update for you. And we finished astrology school this week. The 6-week course is now finished. It's very sad because the people in the school literally have blown me away. Like, it really amazes me that, you know, you can learn astrology in 6 weeks. It took me years, right? I wasted so much time. If someone had literally done my course back when I was learning, I would have bit their arm off, because there are a lot of courses out there, but none that I felt were like a reasonable investment for like the return. This just gets you reading straight with the simple methods that the pros use. So, you know, all the students are literally reading really well. Some of them are literally blowing my mind. So I'm going to get some of them on the podcast talking about astrology, because some of them just seem to resonate with things that I couldn't talk about. Think about astrology as like sports. Like, there are so many different sports, and everyone like is a specialist in different ones in different areas. It's the same with astrology. So I'm definitely going to get some people on to share their astrology experience. Very exciting. So and the next round of No BS Astrology School starts January. The wait list is now open if you want to be on that. If you want to guarantee yourself a spot, just let me know, drop me an email, and we'll talk, and I'll get you on that wait list so you are guaranteed a spot when I open the doors in December. Cool. So I love this course. I think it's the course if you want to learn astrology personally. And if you wanted to go on to be like, use astrology in your coaching or in your business, if you're a spiritual person, this is definitely a great course for you. But a lot of people are just kind of doing it for themselves and are finding it really fruitful. So yeah, let me know. So let's get into today's episode. This is actually a brief one, but it's kind of like a bit of a pep talk. Because something that a lot of astrologers or astrology students, or kind of a lot of people, is they are wordsmiths and they talk a lot. But like, the thing is, as you learn astrology, every astrologer is interpreting astrology to their level of consciousness. So a lot of astrology out there can be very abstract or very basic, and there's not much astrology that integrates both. So what I mean is, by basic, they're like, this is how you are and this is it. If your partner's got this and you've got this, then you're not compatible. If your Venus is here, then that's the end of it. If you've got squares in your chart, then you're unlucky. All these kind of things, and it's quite scaremongering. People get quite worried about their chart. I did a reading yesterday and she was like, I think I have a bad chart, and I was like, oh my god, that's really sad. Like, no, some charts are more challenging, but every chart can be worked with. And then you have astrologies on the other end of the spectrum where I'm literally watching it and I'm like, I have no idea what this person is on about. It has no practical tools for like real life. Maybe it's just because I'm super Capricorn, but I'm like, we need something, you know, in between. And this is the thing I wanted to talk about today, is when we're learning anything like astrology or doing anything spiritual, Reiki, meditation, you're doing any kind of work, we are here in the human form, and we have been put in the human form because the density of this dimension is so thick that we have to slow down and actually examine our thoughts and our words, because here things take a while to manifest. But in other dimensions, if we were there and we had all our shadow, like most of us do, we would literally be destroying the universe. So this is why we get sent to Earth, right? And the thing is, a lot of astrologers kind of don't integrate the fact that we're here in the 3D. They're trying to escape it. A lot of healers are trying to escape it. And actually, this is what we're here. We're here to work with material, and we're here to work with the dark. You know, everyone's so hellbent on we must return to the light. Well, what if I told you the darkness is that way to feel the light? It's like, could you know what white was if you didn't know what any other colours were? Could you know what light was if you'd never experienced dark? It's like, you know, so in astrology, how this works is we can look at your chart and see all the blockages that are blocking your business growth, your romance, your relationships from being how you want, your fertility. You can see health blockages and just, you know, abundance blockages, all of those. And yet, the actual work is the stuff you have to go away and do. What an astrologer will do, like what I do in my session, is I'm going to be really truthful, but I'm going to give you constructive steps. And honestly, every single person I have spoke to, bar one or two, who has had a reading, I've sent them away with practical steps that will 100% based on their astrology chart open up and unlock energies for them, will unlock abundance, will unlock and fix their relationship issues. But many people don't follow through with that work because it's simply very difficult on your own. So there's this thing about, you know, I just wanted to bring in like one of my favorite tips that may be helpful to you, because this is by and large not the be all and end all. This is like a minor tip, but I've been thinking about it a lot. And what would be like one tip I could give away to everyone that had a reading and they're trying to, like, well, there's a few tips I would give if they had a reading, but this one, I'm like, what could I give everyone generally, whether they're an entrepreneur, whether they're just a parent or someone striving for health, trying to get their period back, trying to work on their fertility, trying to get more money or something like that. One of the biggest things I would say is when it comes to growth and evolving yourself, of course, your astrology chart reflects your inner consciousness that manifests outwardly. So whatever is going on inside that mind of yours is materially manifesting. It can be no other way. This is why astrology is the cheat sheet for your life, for your success, for what you want. I used it to literally manifest the man I want, get the money I want, offset my blockages, heal my karma, and I did it in like 4 years, which sounds a long time, but it felt very short from where I was. But it wasn't just astrology. Astrology gave me the cheat sheet. I had to go away and do the work. And you know, many of you know I spent years in like quite integrative therapy. I used a lot of things. It's the same work I do with my one-to-one clients now. However, not the point I'm making. So if there's one thing you can go away and do now, regardless of whether you know your astrology chart, regardless of whether you, care about astrology or not, this is like basic goal setting. And you may have heard this a million times before, but you could go away and do one thing. I would suggest that you look into the mirror of your life and almost objectively watch yourself through the day. A bit like you get to the end of the day and watch yourself like a film reel. And from that standpoint of being separate from yourself, you can even say, what does Cassie do in a day? Because I'm Cassie, so yeah. But you might say, what does Joanna do in a day? So you look and examine the actions that you take. Because the body, the genetics, the cells, you know, the deep inner thoughts become who you are and become things. This is proved for millennia and nowadays in like quantum entanglement and, law of attraction, but your thoughts become actual things. And so, through the day, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't really matter what you think. What really matters a lot is, the mind has some thought. It's mind with matter, not mind over matter. But what are your actions? So as you make breakfast, how are you doing it? Are you even having breakfast? How do you treat your body? Do you work and run it to the ground and push it and then send it to the gym and then make it eat certain foods it doesn't even want sometimes, and then kind of sit there and say shameful things to it in your head? Okay, well, that's showing us an incongruence. Do you think you want to find a partner who truly values you and feel like you can't connect with your partner, and yet you make no attempt to actually do couples conscious time, as in conscious relationship work, like what you might do with my relationship hack, or simply having phone free time, or do you actually not really support them? You just want them to fill your needs and you're not seeing where their needs aren't met. Are you constantly wanting children all the time, but don't want to invest money in like a nutritionist, or you refuse to deal with your diet, or you refuse to change or adapt your behaviors to get that? Are you someone that wants to effortlessly grow your biz? You want more abundance, and yet you won't invest in your business. You're scared of investing in your business. You don't want to invest in people that can help you and block the energy. So your actions, or it can be as simple as, what does my day look like, and what does that say about how I value myself and how committed I am to my business goals? A good example would be, if I was to spend loads of time on my phone, but I wasn't actually doing business stuff, but my goal is to grow my business, it's kind of pointless. If I want more abundance and yet I'm scared to slow down, I don't know how to receive, I can't even get my partner to give me a cup of tea because I feel guilty, and this shows I'm not comfortable receiving. So the point is, your actions speak far louder than words. Now, there's nothing to be scared of here. Like, sometimes you think, oh God, I don't want to do this. But actually, the actions are just a mirror. So they're giving you a springboard to say, aha, that is where I'm incongruent. That is where actually, I'm not in my best self there. So it gives you a clear kind of pathway almost as to what direction to move away from. Sometimes, I love doing my deep dive intensives with like entrepreneurs, because we can do some really fun stuff like astral magic, and I send them away with like extra charts they can carry around, and there's instant fixes. But at the same time, I'm the first one to say, all right, okay, let's get material and practical now. The astrology says this. Are you actually doing that? And the person might say no. I'm like, right, let's work out a way to do that. And those are like my entrepreneur calls, the deep dives, which are a bit different, but great, if you want to grow and become more abundant and up level in your business. But in my other readings, we don't have time for that practical stuff, and so this is why I always suggest, you want to usually find a good coach or therapist, or really consciously think about how are you going to work on that thing. But the point I'm making is, if you're sitting down reading astrology, doing your tarot cards every day, but just reading them and actually not sitting down and doing the nitty gritty of the inner work, then they're going to keep saying the same thing. Your astrologies will keep tripping you up. Everything's going to be difficult, and I don't want that for you, because I know from my own experience, you can turn a pretty bad, crappy life around into a very successful one. But it requires humility, it requires patience, and a commitment to growth. So I would be interested to hear what you think when you look back at the film reel of your day, And even if it's nuanced, you think, actually, there's some incongruencies. It's going to informatively give you a lot to play with. Yeah? So, let's see what happens. Reach out to me. Let me know how you find this. And I would love to hear from you. Like I say, if you want to be on the astrology webinar of 2021, just a few days left to sign up. I'll put the link in the show notes, or just head to my website. And I'll see you soon. Have a great week, or weekend rather, and just let me know what astrology topics you would like. I'm going to get some guests on pretty soon for you. I'm back in the role of things. So keep tuned, stay focused, and have a great week.